Well, hello everyone. As you can see, I'm going for the Afro Friar Tuck look. So don't worry, I'll be going bald here shortly. I'll get rid of it all. Anyways, I digress. Just finishing up cleaning the truck inside and out, and now I'm getting ready to outfit it so I can get back out on the road here shortly. And I'm gonna just walk around and take around the whole place, and then talk about a few things that are on my mind. So the coronavirus. I think we've all done a pretty good job. I think the government has done a decent job at making sure that we do what we're supposed to do in order to keep the casualties at a minimum. So, yeah, because I'm driving all over the place in this thing. The last month and a half, my goodness, I was really, it was tight getting the shipments in for everybody. And then now all of a sudden things have kind of slowed down for us. So I'm finishing up my home time, hoping to get a load back out of here. And but yeah, no, it was quite interesting. All the areas were quiet. Not a whole lot of people were driving where there were. There were some areas where they didn't really care. They were all over the place. They were probably extroverts. I see nothing wrong with people in their cars driving around. It's not spreading the disease. They're not in contact with people. So some people need to let that lie and, have that done with. So I think it'd be great if they could have a managed amount of people in the museums. Shoot. You can't spread the disease too much if you have a managed amount. And the other thing I'm upset about is the fact that churches, just so you know, I'm a man of faith, but I'm the biggest sinner you'll ever meet. have no problems beating the crap out of somebody and doing all that great stuff. I am a horrible person, people. I am. I am not a messiah. I'm not a freaking saint. I am a POS. But I'm a good person all around. Just don't like to be upset about certain things. I digress. Well, we live in interesting times, but considering the things that we have to go through and all that other stuff, I think everybody's done exactly what they were supposed to. I don't believe the media one bit on what they're trying to produce and what they're trying to do. Matter of fact, I don't trust them with a 10-foot pole. I don't trust the fact that a person that used to be part of Microsoft and still hasn't totally let go of Microsoft. Kind of like Al Davis of the Raiders. He never left go even after he died. However, a known person that was able to take his own software, infect it with a virus, and then sell the American people or the world the software fix to that virus. Take a think about that. There's some historical understanding about that. And then you got to look at his parents. You got to look at all that stuff. Does that define him as a bad person? No. It's what he was taught, what that person was taught. He doesn't know any better. He has his own beliefs and his own cares about certain things that he's passionate about. Do we have a population problem? Nah, I don't think so. Not yet. Getting close. I mean, everywhere I go, I see a lot of trash. I see a lot of problems that population does. But anywhere you go in life, we're going to have good people and we're going to have bad people. We're going to have a lot of that. So we have good officers, we have bad officers. We have good truckers, we have bad truckers. We have good pastors, we have bad pastors. It doesn't matter. You can't legislate out evil, people. It's always going to be there. But I look at it this way, with this pandemic, I'm ranting, as you can tell. So please go ahead and turn off if you feel like it. They're going to pass laws. Good thing they haven't been able to be successful. But I believe any person elected or hired to a position, and they usurp the people's constitutional rights and privileges, they need to be put to jail, because that is exactly constitutional. We don't. Anytime someone comes up with something that changes the Second Amendment or wants to do away with the Second Amendment, they need to be put to jail. I'm sorry. Those rights shall not be infringed. Same with freedom of speech. If a person wants to run around all over town cussing up a storm and not meaning anything about it, by all means, they can do that. I don't like it. I don't want my children to hear it, but I can't stop them. But if we enact legislation that curtails that, they should go to jail. So, and freedom of press. Anybody that limits that because they have an agenda or tries to legislate that out, need to go to jail. Sorry, from the top down to the bottom. Private corporations, we're treating them differently. Well, that's fine. But they need to be held to the standard. Fake news is always going to be fake news. We have to have the intelligence to be able to split it apart and dissect it and put it where it belongs. We have allowed the entities involved to divide this country in likes that it's never been divided before. We can't even get a word in edgewise on each other now. We can't even have a good, solid debate without name calling or negativity. Looking at people's ideas. We don't ask each other the right questions anymore. And that's one good problem. We don't ask questions. The other thing is we're immediately ready to write them off, build our own echo chamber. And I know a couple of my friends that have an echo chamber. And all they want is the pat on the back because they've got the right ideas, but they can't figure out how to objectively put it where it needs to be. And some of those ideas I don't particularly care for, but I'm willing to look at what they're doing and listen to them, as well as I live to everybody. Some people don't like centrist people or people with central thought. Unfortunately, for a person like me, I see bullshit on both sides. Been on the good side of the law and I've been on the bad side of the law. I know where the bullshit is. I know where it stinks. I know where the problems are. The other thing is I posted up on something on Facebook about a lady that wanted to run against Nancy Pelosi. That was an interesting deal that went through. Matter of fact, it's still being shared all over the place. She lost the primaries. But the biggest hang up for some people is the fact that she has God in her advertisement. God, family, and I believe country. So they believe that's not American. Well, they have every right to believe that. I'm a person of content of character. If her character dictates otherwise, that little advertisement doesn't mean anything until I see what's going on with the rest of her thoughts and ideas. But to write her off just because of one word, that doesn't mean anything to some people, and some people it does. But at least she was honest. At least you know where her faith is, if she has any faith. And if that so changes her mind not to want to vote for her, by all means. I don't think it has anything to do with separation of church and state. She just has something, she's just trying to show a little bit of her belief, I believe. That's what the direction is. I'm going to look up that person one more time and see what that was all about, be honest with you. Because that's one of my hang-ups. And I'm a person of faith. And I love the people that aren't believers as well. I've got quite a few friends that I hold dearly to my heart. Some of them I don't hear anymore. I don't know what the problem is, but probably pissed them off or something. Who knows? Back on a positive. We're doing well. Not sick over here at this side. Got an elderly family. I've been in and out of Washington. I've been in and out of all kinds of different states that have been hot spots. And so far I know, I haven't contracted anything. My father-in-law, he's a pastor. He hasn't contracted anything, but he's not holding massive gatherings either. He's not trying to get himself in trouble either. So that's good for him. Me, I don't care. I'd show up on church if I had the chance. I have no problems with that. Am I going to affect somebody? If I was affected, probably, or get affected. But there's a thing called social distancing. We do it in the supermarkets. We could do it in church. This is ridiculous. What's also ridiculous is the overreach. People that are fishing, you're going to stop them from fishing? Golly, you're going to keep people cooped up in their homes and programmed on the TV. And then you get this social cooking artist, not social cooking, soul cooker, a spirit cooker artist showing up on Easter through a Microsoft ad. I was like, there's something wrong with that lady. It's like, yuck. I'm not interested in the stuff she is. Well, she could be a good person. I could care less. I'm not interested in her art, and I'm not interested in all that stuff. And thank you, Microsoft. I'm not interested in you guys. I'm going to Apple. I've been with Apple. I'm going to stay with Apple. Matter of fact, I'm holding an Apple phone. However, Apple is going to have to raise their prices, bring all their phones and everything manufactured in the States. I want to see the entire United States wake up, bring manufacturing back to where it belongs. All the necessary stuff, I'm glad my community is making protective gear for those that need it. And that's very important. So guess what? All the basic needs within a city, especially a Reading or a county, doesn't matter what size, they should have a manufacturing facility for the basics that medical personnel need and everything else. We don't have to rely on major facilities to take care of that. Of course, production costs and all that stuff has to be managed. Believe me, I understand it. I have a business still, and I'm driving a truck for a living, and I get it. Costs. Nobody wants to pay employee costs. Very rare companies that actually want to pay what their employees are worth, and then be able to have the large home on the ranch that they live in and be able to be overly comfortable. I have no problem with that. That's capitalism. What I have a problem with is when we deregulate all kinds of stuff. We take away certain things. We allow corporations to become conglomerates. And then they lobby things out. And then they make it unsafe. And then they make it where you can't repair your own stuff. Safety. Okay, so we just gave up our freedom to repair something because they legislated out that freedom because of safety. You guys get the correlation? When we give up our freedoms for safety or security, we deserve none. And that allows a tyrannical government or a tyrannical corporate entity to do whatever they want. It's just like the police department. Their sole purpose is to protect what? Protect the businesses? Protect the city council? The police department hasn't been voted in. They're hired in. So basically, they're a bunch of security guards for the city. Sheriff's a little bit different. So, some things to think about. We need to rethink of what we're doing here. Keep it constitutional with a little bit of socialism and a little bit of capitalism, and do it right. I believe we should be off the petrodollar and go right back to the gold standard. We should be paying our debts off very shortly. We should have dairy cows where they belong, not taken to pastures and turning them into warehouses. Although warehouses are important, we're going to need more warehouses. But I think it's time for our little communities and stuff like that to start being entrepreneurs again and bring back manufacturing where it belongs. Our medication all our eggs should not be in one basket, folks. I don't know what the numbers is, but understanding the amount of jobs that we've exported, and don't get me wrong, I like the fact that we're helping other economies build and everything, but Now that we've experienced some things in this country, and I'm not being racist, not the bit. I haven't said one racist thing. I'm saying that we have our own issues in this country. When we talk about the poor, we don't do anything for the poor. We have 4 different kinds of poor people. We have the working poor that are homeless. Excuse me, the 4 kinds of homeless. We have the working homeless. We have the drug addicts that are homeless. And these people here, they don't care. They're wrapped up in their own little world. It's a problem that they created themselves because they're very selfish and all they want to do is get high. They will kill, steal, and destroy to get high. I've never been to that level, so I don't know what it's like. I've never tried the drugs that they had, so I don't know what it's like. But that's what I see. Is it wrong? I don't know. Probably wrong to think that way, but that's what I see. Then you have the veterans, which go in sides with another group, but the other group's different. The veterans and the other people that chose to tune out and not be a part of society. I have no problem with them. They don't do anything. They keep to themselves. They keep them areas clean. They may not be clean, but they're not a problem. The working homeless, they're not a problem either. But we need to do something better for them as well. And then you have the mental health, the homeless people that are psychologically able to take care of themselves, but they think different. They're unhireable for some reason. And who knows? But that was a problem that was created back when Ronald Reagan was a Democrat and he was governor of California. He stripped away a lot of the things for mental health, and we're continuing to cut mental health. Most of our prisons are full of mental health people. Okay, and there's a 5th element. I forgot about that. Think about that one there for a second. Mental health, veterans. There's one more, I'm sure there is. Oh yeah, the criminal, whether they're criminally insane, which goes on the mental health problem, or they're just a criminal person that can't be forgiven for their sins. And these are your child molesters and all the people that have done some seriously heinous crimes in their time. They have nothing coming to them, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. All right, folks, my friends here, I'll get back onto that in a little bit. If you have any questions, please ask all the way. I'll try and give you my thoughts on it. But once again, I am not the right person for those thoughts. Bye-bye.